This video is about properties of operations. An example of an operation is addition, which has the symbol plus. We all now know how addition works. If I have 2 and I add 3, I get 5. This is nothing new. The only new thing is that we call it an operation and that we are going to describe properties of this operation. We're going to start with the commutative property. Let's look at this example again. 2 plus 3 is 5. Now 3 plus 2 has the same results. That is also 5. It doesn't matter which number I put first and which I put second, as long as they are the same two numbers. We call this the commutative property. We can swap the numbers around and the results are the same. We write this down as saying that the sum of two numbers a and b, if we say a plus b or b plus a, it does not matter. Another operation which we will know is subtraction, which has the sign minus. If I do the same with subtraction, we'll calculate 2 minus 3, which is -1, and 3 minus 2, swapping the numbers around, gives us 1. These results are not the same. So the commutative property, which says we can swap the numbers around, does not hold. A minus b is not the same as b minus a, generally speaking. So addition is commutative and subtraction is not commutative. Another operation is multiplication, which we denote with either a cross or a point. And we can try 2 times 3, which is 6, and 3 times 2, which is also 6. This holds for any two numbers, so the commutative property holds. Any number a times any number b is the same as b times a. One more operation is the division. I'm going to use different numbers here. I'm going to use numbers that actually divide. 8 divided by 4 is 2. However, 4 divided by 8 is a half. These are not the same, so the commutative property does not hold. In summary, saying that an operation has the commutative property, we say that in this operation, it does not matter which number you put first and which number you put second. So plus and times are commutative, minus and divided by are not. Another property we can look at is the associative property. And we're going to describe this again with the 4 operations that we know, and the first being addition. Plus. If we add 3 numbers together, we know that it should not matter whether we calculate the sum of the first 2 and then add the third, or calculate the sum of the second 2 and then add the first. Let's look at this. 2 plus 6 is 8, plus 4 is 12, and this one gives 2 plus 6 plus 4 is 10. So this also gives 12. So when adding 3 numbers together, it doesn't matter whether you begin with the first 2 or with the last 2. When we look at subtraction, then that's a whole different matter. For instance, if we look at 10 minus 3 minus 4, then calculating the difference of the first 2 and then subtracting the last, or subtracting the difference from the last 2 from the first, does give a different outcome. 10 minus 3 is 7, and 7 minus 4 is 3, whereas 3 minus 4 is negative 1, and 10 minus negative 1 is actually 11. So these are not the same results. So the associative property says that if we add two numbers together and then add a third, then that is the same as adding the last two numbers to the first. And this property does not hold for subtraction. As a side note, it is because the associative property does not hold for subtraction that the order of operations is actually important. When there are no brackets, we have agreed upon the order being from the first to the last. So if there's no brackets, you can think brackets around the first two. For addition, this rule is not really important because it doesn't matter, but for subtraction it does make a difference. And that's precisely because the associative property does not hold for subtraction. I'll leave it up to you as an exercise to check whether multiplication and division are associative or not.